Hey there, guys. How's it going? We got kind of a rainstorm over here, and we're trying to get our way out of it. So what we've got for you here today is some NHL 2002 on the Game Boy Advance. There we go. Now, one of the reasons why I decided to go over this game, I haven't actually started yet. This is just the demo. I wanted to play this because somebody had mentioned it over on Twitter, so I thought it might be kind of interesting to see what it's like and give it a shot. So that's what we're going to do here. Turn fighting on. So yeah, you guys are right. Fighting actually did come back to this game after a while, though I still love the idea that you got to play the original NHL PA 93 to go back and get fighting the way that it the way it was supposed to be. So let's see. We'll do the Oilers today against I don't know, Columbus. All right, let's see what this is like. So we've had a whole bunch of handheld hockey games recently. We've played a couple of them, but this is my first time trying this one out. Hopefully this will be better than NHL 95 was. All right, there we go. This is fast. This is really fast for a game of this style. So it definitely is the small screen, which might be a good thing, might be a bad thing. Depends on sort of your perspective. But this game is, I would say, surprisingly fast. And got pretty good animation as well for a Game Boy Advance game. You guys are going to have to remind me, like, what exactly are the specs of the Game Boy Advance? I don't know this off the top of my head. I didn't ever own one, actually. I don't think I owned a Game Boy Advance at any point in time. I might have had something at some point in time. Maybe I did have one when I was an adult. Back in the old days when I was an adult. No, I mean, like, you know, when I was in like my late 20s or something, I may have had one at some point in time. I can't remember. Clearly, I didn't. If I had it, I didn't spend a whole lot of time with it, and I wasn't playing this game for sure. This definitely has sort of a 16-bit type feel to it. Now all we have to do is figure out how to actually score goals, so that's the next thing we got to worry about. Boy, they got a penalty right off the face-off. I'm not sure what he did.
2 minutes roughing. 2 minutes charging.
Well, we didn't win the fight, that's for sure. But that was definitely worth the price of admission.
Fighting. 5 minutes fighting.
It didn't take us long to get to our first fight, not even halfway through the first period. All right, here we go. There's nobody there. I'm guessing we were in the middle of a line change or something like that. Why does Columbus have a player who's like permanently placed on the other side of the ice? Like what is he doing? Anyways, I'll tell you one of the problems with this game.
Injury.
One of the problems with this game is the fact that the screen is so small. I'm not sure that there's anything that EA really could have done about this, you know, because it's obviously, you know, created to fit with the Game Boy Advance and its limitations. But yeah, it's kind of hard if you can't see like who's behind you at all. It's kind of hard to know what it is you're supposed to be doing. And what was that? There's all sorts of like glitches and stuff going on here. However, having said all of that, the sound is really good. So the person whose tweet that I saw, it may have actually been the NHL 94 account. I can't remember who it was. they were saying that, oh, this is a great game. This game is exactly like the old school 16-bit games or the Super Nintendo game or whatever. I don't know if that's necessarily true. It feels a lot sort of looser. The AI in this is not as good as it was in the 16-bit world. That's for sure. It's fast, which is nice. Of course, I think a lot of our struggles are caused more by user error than by AI problems, but I think that part's kind of self-evident by this time. You gotta be kidding me, man. So he wins the face-off and he just goes up and scores right away and nobody even bothers going back? Was Edmonton like really bad back in 2001 or whatever? Or like... There we go. There we go. All right.
2 minutes. Cross-check.
Huh. I didn't even know that the referee had his hand up for a delayed penalty, so okay. The other problem I have is that I'm not sure like what I'm supposed to be doing here in these fights. I'm just kind of like pushing buttons and, you know, trying to get stuff done. But I got totally clobbered that time. And I'm guessing maybe this is because it's a mismatch or something like that. I don't know. But
5 minutes fighting. 5 minutes fighting.
There we go.
1 minute.
There we go. Now, as far as the controls themselves are concerned, like, it's okay. It's a little bit easier to control than the Genesis games because they didn't really like try to emulate the feel of, you know, being on ice. Because of that, though, it doesn't really feel like an NHL game. And the other thing, and I'm guessing this is because it's a Game Boy Advance game, it does have sort of a real kind of janky feel to it.
Injury.
I thought he was injured already, so okay, he gets injured again after 4 seconds. Alright, let's work it up. Come on, guys.
Two minutes. Interference.
All right, 2 minutes for interference. Like, I swear, they've had so many breakaways here, it's not even funny. I know I have it on intermediate, you know, maybe I should have it on, like, the easiest level or whatever, but, there's been far too many breakaways here. Anyway, this fighting mechanic is not particularly good, and there's some weird animation things going on there, and plus it feels like there's just too much fighting in this game. It feels like this happens way too often. And I put that in my own net? Anyway. So what I can tell you is that overall, I mean, this game's not bad. It's kind of loose, but it doesn't feel like, you know, it really doesn't feel like an NHL game. It feels like, I don't know. It feels like a pretty, like I said, a pretty janky game. It feels like this was made by a team that didn't know how to make like a 16-bit style game. There we go. So it does work if you try to deke them out.
Two minutes. Interference. Icing.
Man, he's got a pretty accurate shot, huh, from that kind of distance. That's pretty impressive. Anyway, so as I'm filming this right now, the Canadian and U.S. women are playing the gold medal game. As you can tell, I'm not exactly watching it. This feels a little bit more important to me at the moment. Okay, that was pretty bad. So if you push the A button with the goalie, he'll just sort of like lay the puck down on the ice and then we'll back away from it. So don't do that if you play this game. That probably was not the best idea in the world. Yeah. There's so much for that. I can tell you, I don't know what's going on with this fighting system. I can't really like figure it out. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be doing about that. I know if I went and looked at, the manual or whatever, I'd probably figure out more. But, remember what the fighting system was like in, Blades of Steel and just compare it to this. Fighting system in hockey games was once a lot better than this. Oh, that's not interference? All right, we'll take it. There we go. Grab it. There we go. Okay, that was ridiculous. That was ridiculous. And you see what the goalie did afterwards too? That was totally nuts. All right. I mean, he shot that basically from center ice. We're trying to dump it in. I'm just trying to figure out, what the buttons do in different situations and stuff. All right, here we go. Here we go. Up the ice, up the ice. There we go.
Two minutes. Interference.
All right, well, so far so good. We're only down 6-3. This is another one of those 1980s storylines, right? Or storylines, score lines, I mean. Dude, you gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me, man. We don't put any sort of defense up there. Like, do I have to do everything, right? I mean, it's crazy. Oh, well, at least, though, unlike yesterday's game, I think that we'll be able to finish this one up without having the game completely crash on us at the end. That one yesterday was an all-time classic. Get it, there you go. All right, here we go. Oh, we're out of time.
Period over.
Anyway, there you go. So far, so good. Again, like I said, it doesn't feel quite like the old classic NHL games. For one thing, there's way too much fighting. I mean, you know, fighting is kind of a cool part of the game and stuff like that, right? I understand it, you know, but there's too much fighting in this game. This is ridiculous. Every time I turn around, I'm in another fight. And this fighting system is just broken. It just doesn't work right? What happened to the Blades of Steel system? Why couldn't they have that system in this game, right? There's no real difference between the two, except that that system's easier to understand, and this one's just sort of slop together, you know. There we go. That was pretty cool, actually. It's a shame that I don't have any teammates. Get it, get it, get it. And then the goalie goes berserk as soon as, if he's out of his crease, he goes totally berserk as soon as they blow the whistle. It's interesting. There we go. All right, let's try this again. Dude. Like, I can't figure this out. Why is it that every time I attack, I end up with, like being alone? I'm, like, the only player on the team. All right, here we go. So what did I do this time?
Interference.
Interference once again. And then they get the interference call. Okay. All right. So there are some nice things about it, right? You know, it does kind of work sort of like the classic NHL games, right? The biggest problem that I have with this game, though, is that it's just too fast. This engine is too fast. And it means that, you know, you end up, like, not really knowing what you're doing. The other problem is that the your AI teammates are completely incompetent. Like, I can't, basically, you know, my biggest hope is that I'm going to have a breakaway, because otherwise nobody knows that, oh yeah, we're on the other side of the ice now, right? I mean, look at this. And this is with my defenseman. Like, where's everybody else, right? And then the biggest problem I think with this game is this fighting system. There's just too many fights. Oh yeah, that was really fair. Well, that was the guy, Ninima, or however you say his name. That's the guy that was just injured in both periods, right? By these, like, real cheap shots, right? Anyway, yeah, I mean, it's okay. The issue that I have with this, as you can see, is that it's turning into, like, the same thing going one way or the other, right? I mean, like, I'm not seeing a whole bunch of, like, different strategy that you can, you know, put into it. It feels like it's just sort of like, okay, you get a breakaway, and then you get a breakaway, you know. Yeah, my teammates are incapable of doing anything on their own.
2 minutes. Interference.
As is usual for these EA Sports games, we're getting interference calls, like, all over the place. There we go. But then this is the worst part right here where I'm like, okay, so where are my teammates, right? There's nobody else around, right? With all of these defenders that we got to beat, and we don't have anybody. I have nobody to pass to, right? It ends up being just me.
Face off.
Anyway, though, it's not awful. I don't imagine that this compares well with the, you know, like better versions of NHL 2002, right? But you know, it's okay. But saying that this is like, you know, the handheld version of like the old school games and stuff is not entirely accurate. This is a pretty janky hockey game. Yeah, it is nice to make hits like that, sure. And that's it.
Game over.
So, yeah, we didn't do very well in this one, did we? But at least the game ended normally. There were no crashes. There was nothing crazy happening. Resume game. Oh, that's what we'll do. It just takes us to this end screen. And we lost. And that's the end of that. So there you have it. That is NHL 2002 on the Game Boy Advance. If you've never played it before, now you know what it looks like. Yeah, I'm going to stick to the non-handheld consoles, at least for the time being. Well, anyway, I'll talk with you later. Bye.